you ready to get showcased?
And welcome everybody to the Showcase Pod. I'm filling in for Don Vega tonight, the Punisher. My name is Dan Vidandi, joined by the boss, Chris Blackheart, and we've got a special guest today. Welcome him back for the second time on the podcast. He's known as the Outpatient, Jeremy Carter, and tonight we're going to talk about the death of Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm. Just like three good people died in a row, man. Literally, it's crazy. And got some wrestling news to talk about and everything else. So, what's up, Chris? So where's Mr. Don Vega today?
Well, this is breaking news. We do know that TNA is down in Rhode Island at the Ryan Center, and members of the Showcase Wrestling staff was there yesterday, today, and they'll be there tomorrow. So,
nice.
Huge shout out. We thank TNA for giving us the opportunity to get some of our people underneath our banner down there, and we'll have the stories next week. Don Vega is one of those who was there yesterday. He'll be there today and tomorrow. But obviously, the biggest news today, the loss of an icon. Yep. The foundation of literally sports entertainment.
And look at this, we got Malcolm Jamal Warner. He passed away, and a few days ago. Then Ozzy Osbourne, that was a big hit too, man. A lot of people talking. Ozzy Osbourne, awesome guy, man, and especially Hulk Hogan. And myself, I grew up as a Hulkamaniac and everything else, and I was honored to actually meet him. I really am. I got to meet Hulk Hogan, and there's a picture of me there with the Hulkster there. So, it was great to meet him and all that stuff. So, I got stories of my own. But anyway, let's tune into Mr. Jeremy Carter. He's from Criminally Insane, from the New England Wrestling, NWA, and also New World Wrestling. And they had tag team titles all over the place. Him and James Allen there. So, yeah, Criminally Insane, man. Great tag team. But let's welcome our guests, the Outpatient, Jeremy Carter. What's up, my brother? And also, this guy was also my manager at New World Wrestling, so for a while. So, great stuff. He's actually the creator of the Bionic Bull. So, anyway, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. It's always great to be on a great show with you and Chris tonight, and get a chance to talk about a lot of things in professional wrestling, and the first thing, obviously, you mentioned was the death of the immortal Hulk Hogan, which, granted, when I was a kid, I rooted for all the bad guys because that's just the kind of wrestling fan that I was. But I appreciate what he did for professional wrestling and putting it in the spotlight. And when you're an adult, you can more appreciate what his contributions were, especially being involved in the business as long as I was, and as you guys are still, I think this sends ripples throughout the entire sport, wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. Just sends ripples through the entire business, I think.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it does definitely. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I saw a video clip of Ric Flair being interviewed today, and he was a mess. Absolutely a mess. I was telling about the friendship that him and Hogan had over the years, and it got to hit him two ways. One, they're in the same age bracket. Two, they were the guys in the 80s. Mm-hmm. You were either an NWA guy or a WWF guy. I started watching WWF, but once I saw NWA and got hooked with Flair, forget it. Yeah. Hogan was the foundation. He was the foundation. He built sports entertainment. He literally brought it from Southern wrestling or wrestling in the small halls or the dark rooms. He brought it to mainstream, which is huge. So, on behalf of everybody, some people love him, some people don't like him, but on behalf of myself, thank you for laying the way, building that foundation for everything that this industry is literally built on.
I think that's you know, I think you hit it 100% on the nail on the head. It's like, you know, we wouldn't have wrestling on TV or pay-per-views or any of that bullshit if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, you know. And Vince McMahon, obviously, he's the one who steered the rudder of the ship, you know. But the two of them together, they got the mainstream. They helped the NWA/WCW get to the heights that they were going to get to, you know. And when I was a kid, yeah, I mean, I wish I had more WWF up here because I lived in Massachusetts, and we really, aside from wrestling on Saturdays at 6:05, and I think the main event on a Sunday afternoon, that's all the NWA that we got, you know, and except for chasing down the videotapes through Turner Home Entertainment like I used to do it when I was a kid, but you know, get a chance to see all the great matches of those days, and you know, getting a chance to grow up. You know, a very interesting point is that I was talking to somebody earlier about Hogan. Do you realize out of all the main events that Hogan had at WrestleMania, only one person is still alive?
Wow.
That he fought.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
Who is that? Oh, The Rock. Right?
One left.
Yeah, The Rock.
Oh, Rock and Michaels.
Yeah.
Well, from Hogan's first 9, which I consider his prime.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he fought Yokozuna at 9. He fought Sid at WrestleMania 8. Sid's gone. You know, and 6 was the Warrior. 5 was Sid. 4 was one Harper and Owens in that team main event. I mean, they're all gone except for Slaughter, which is kind of ironic because Slaughter actually did a live interview about Hogan today on Sports Center.
Huh.
I think it was. I saw the video through YouTube earlier, so you know,
Yeah,
it's a crazy day to be an old school wrestling fan.
yeah.
You know?
Do you know one thing that was cool? And I don't know if you guys got this. That people or family members, you know, called or text me and said, "Hey, Hulk Hogan died.
Yeah.
And then, are you okay?" You know, what, you know, seriously, you know, which is pretty cool when you think about it.
I got that too, and I'm like, I appreciate the fact that, you know, they link it all together.
Yeah.
You know, independence, professional. Most people don't really understand any of it. All they know is that we're involved in the wrestling business, sort, and don't know if it had an impact on it. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like every wrestling hero I had, I think, is all gone now. I think so. I mean, not that Hogan was a hero, but I mean, obviously Hogan was in that era, so I give him his kudos.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's I don't think there'd be a Bionic Dan Badani if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. I was like 10 years old. We turned on the TV. I couldn't sleep one night, and Hogan was just coming out to the ring. It was a Saturday night's main event when he beat the Iron Sheik for the title, and that was my very first match, and I was hooked since then. And speaking of that, like I know Don Vega likes to ask this question. So with this being said and everything, what gave you the bug? What bug bit you basically to become a pro wrestler? What inspired you and everything else?
What professional wrestler?
Yeah.
I think first time my dad ever took me to a professional wrestling match, which was like 1982 at the Acton Bosborough High School. I think Sergeant Slaughter was a bad guy. He was fighting Chief Jay Strongbow. One of the Wild Samoans was on the card. Some other guys I didn't really know well, but I was hooked when I first saw wrestling and understood it. And then in the 80s, when I started, like, for me, the big guys, the larger-than-life guys, those are the guys that got me wanting to do this. Like the Studs and the Bundys and, like, you know, Savage and Piper, and they're all their over-the-top personality. You know, that's what drew me in. And obviously, you had to have Hogan as a nucleus because they were all going after him.
Yeah.
So, you know, I still do watch today, but I don't have nearly the attention for it than I used to, I guess. You know, especially when one of those companies had a 6.5 hour pay-per-view the other day, which
6.5.
I'm all set with.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know, I mean, and this could be just watching as a young kid and a fan. It felt more passionate back then. Now, I don't know if it's because of the age, or do you think it was the product and the
Chris,
characters?
I think that, honestly, in my opinion, I feel that it was the era of, you know, our favorite word, kayfabe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the fans had no idea what the wrestlers were doing outside of the ring. They had no idea good guys and bad guys in real life. Nowadays, the curtain's pulled back so far that the fans cheer the moves just as much as the actual wrestlers doing them. And back then, when we were younger, you'd be like ringside, and every guy walking down the aisle was larger than life, whether it was in physical stature or whether it was in personality. You know, the energy was totally different. The curtain closed for a reason.
And if you notice, everybody was like their own character, and you're like Macho Man. Like every time he went to the top rope, there was not one person standing.
Yeah.
Every flash bulb went off and everything. Same thing when Hogan dropping a leg, whatever the case. And that's what drew me in, man. Like, these guys were like the size of dinosaurs, larger than life. And I'm like, wow, I'm like starstruck. I want to be that, you know. And I know it's probably the same for you.
No, and I agree with you. And I still try to watch a little bit nowadays, but it's not like it was in the 80s.
No.
And even during the Attitude Era sparked my interest just to because it was interesting to watch on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, granted, at that point, I knew the ins and outs of the wrestling business because I'd already been in for a handful of years already at that point. But the character design and the storylines were fantastic. You know, and I just feel like it's lacking today what the storylines were like back in the day. You know, whether it was, you know, Hogan's rivalry with Piper, which was unparalleled, or you know, Ric Flair in his heated rivalry with even Ricky Morton back in the early 80s, which I've been watching a lot of that on YouTube, catching vintage NWA Great American Bash, and like they've been putting a lot of that material on YouTube lately, which is amazing to watch all the old school bunkhouse stampedes and all that kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, I think, you know, what got me into it was the over the top, and then when I got into the wrestling school, you know, your hopes and dreams of the fan get dashed really quick. So I think the first half a dozen or so form, I'm sure that took by Kowalski, pretty much knocked all that bullshit right out of my system real fast. So, you know, so, oh God,
Yeah.
it's so surreal that we're running out of '80s icons
Yeah.
at a rapid pace.
And the scary part is when you think about it, it's like we're next. I mean, we're at that stage of the next. You know what I mean? So we're the end of our generation, and that's even more scary if you think about it.
Well, we were just talking about it at the school a couple of days ago. The problem is the guys aren't staying around like they used to. They're in like 3, 4, 5 years, maybe up to 7, and they're out.
You're right.
You know, where when I started and you guys started, you had guys in there 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. That was just the norm.
No, I agree. That's because business made more sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? It actually, when you were a fan, you could follow what was going on.
Yeah.
But then, when you were a worker, you know, I'm sure when I wasn't a worker during the '80s. I couldn't tell you what that was like. But obviously, it was a different time. It was a different era. You know, they didn't treat the business the same way that they do nowadays. Like, can you actually think of any wrestler from the 1880s that would take a fucking pile driver on the ring apron? Pardon my French. That's like one of the most insane and dangerous looking spots. And every time I see it done, I'm like, what on earth? Why?
Yeah,
You know,
that's stupid.
Moves like that Canadian destroyer, the foot pile driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look great in the ring, but when you're doing it off the top rope under the ring apron,
Yeah. I wouldn't.
and the
take that.
crowd, you know,
Do you know what
the
I
crowd
think?
would.
I think the
What's that?
problem is there was no one there to say, "What are you doing?" You know,
Yeah.
it's almost, I hate to say the kids got away with it, but they did. You know, they pushed the envelope, and no one's like, "Hey, that was stupid. Why are you doing that?"
Like
And
Chris,
Yeah, not-
Chris at the shows. I mean, like every match, him and Don want to know what's going on in the match, right? So, you know, when it comes to high spots, and you know, Chris is like very frowned upon people doing stupid flips over the top rope into
Yep.
the outside. And which I don't blame him, because for a small independent show, man, it's not worth your life. And like, yeah, I would never take a pile driver in an apron like that. It's stupid.
Yeah, no, it just makes you. But I think that's the one of the problem.
Yeah.
You don't have leaders and generals in the locker room to say, "Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?" And a lot of times you ask these young kids why they're doing that, and they go, "I don't know." Then why are you doing it? You know, are you gonna be leaving the? Are you gonna be leaving the promotion for like 4 or 5 months? No. Then why are you doing fill in the blank? That's stupid.
You know, I agree. I think a lot of that problem is that they see it on TV with the other wrestlers, and they're like, "Oh, I think I can do that too."
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what's worse. Is that bad, or the trading of fake looking forearms I've ever seen in my entire life? All that Japanese trade off shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I look at Jim Cornette a lot. I will say that. I find him entertaining. I find what he's saying is 95% truth, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. You know, and yeah, granted he does rag on AEW quite a bit, but having these crazy that people just did every match trade looking forearms, and I didn't see it, but with Cornette describing it, it seems like they all did the same spot at some point in their match.
Yeah.
You know, and if back in the day, if I had done that on a Kowalski show, if I had copied somebody else's spots, I never would have got another goddamn match.
Well,
He wouldn't book guys who copied other guys.
the problem too with forearms, most people do not know what a forearm feels like. So, we're laying it in, brother. We're doing, strong style. The problem is, if you hit me as high as you want, it hurts. Most people don't even know what it feels like, so you don't even not get a reaction. One simple punch to the face. People know what a punch in the face feels like, right?
Yeah.
Or a kick in the face, or a headbutt, or an eye gouge. They don't know what a forearm feels like.
I mean, I'll tell you, the first time I felt forearms were by Kowalski, and he didn't pull those, so to speak. And then the next guy who we had to do was Perry Saturn, and you can imagine that Perry did not throw light forearms by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm glad that I learned that way, because you can throw forearms stiff and safe areas for the guy who hurt too bad.
Yeah.
We're not breaking in. Everybody knows, but when they're breaking out staple guns in matches, I'm done. I'm all set with it.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's not wrestling at all either.
No, but I mean,
What's that?
like I get the niche of it. Some guys like it, some fans like it, but a lot of times when you watch promotions, that's all they do. If every match has light bulbs, every match has tables, every match has barbed wire ropes, there's nothing special.
There's only certain wrestlers who could do that style and do it well. Sabu, Terry Funk, New Jack, because that was his shtick, But when regular wrestlers are doing staple gun spots on national TV, or from what I understand, Moxley, Hangman, and Page used nails in their main event match last weekend or weekend before, whatever the hell it was. Really? Have we gotten that far that
Yeah.
you guys can't have can't have a quality heavyweight championship match without having to break out the kitchen sink? You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all true. I mean, the business does go in cycles, but some days I question, why is this cycle coming back?
How about still of telling a story in the ring with actual moves and not having an 8-man match and 6 of them are just sitting outside the ring on the apron waiting for their spot to get called.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say it, Chris. I'm trying not to pick on the new stuff because there is some decent looking stuff out there, but what's that?
You'll appreciate this, Jerry. We were just talking about this last night, right? So
Correct.
the guys went down to TNA, right? They came back to the training center because they all met there. And they got back there around say 7:30. You know, I'm talking to them how it went, and I looked at them. I said, you know, we call it the Showcase Pro Wrestling Training Center program because the problem is people learn how to wrestle very quick these days, like some of the basics, but they don't learn their craft. They don't learn the foundation. They're not redefining it, but they're not learning their respect and professionalism and the etiquette with different styles of matches. So they're not learning tag etiquette. They're not learning 6-mans or 8-man, and you know they just think, oh, it's not my turn. I do nothing, because they weren't in wrestling school long enough. Because they have to be part of a program to help build. You don't learn everything in 3 months, 6 months. Imagine if you look back, we look at the first year, you know nothing in the first year of wrestling.
Yeah.
Nope. It took me a year in Kowalski's before I got my first match, and I was fine with it, you know. And I gotta say this, Chris, and I apologize. I don't want to sound like a cantankerous little bastard, but a lot of you guys, they're not fucking right. Okay, I watched so many matches on TV where they have a half-ass headlock on, and this is national television.
Yeah.
You don't even know how to throw a shoulder block, a shoulder tackle. Easy peasy stuff that we learn first, second, third day in school. And then if you actually train them, and I'm sure you do train them right, and all of a sudden, and they their high spots that we're watching luchadors doing, you know, the previous week on TV. And I'm like, if you can do a Hogan Rana, you should be able to do a headlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is they don't think there's value, which is ironic, because some of the same things that we're doing Monday and Tuesday to get ready for Ken on Wednesday, when Ken comes in, he has the same problems working with the talent on the national level that we have down here. Exactly what you said, the headlock, the tightness of it, how it looked, the shoulder tech, it's the little things that make everything else bigger, tighter, and believable of what we do.
I agree with you. And one of the things that the most basic move that I've seen 90% of both indie guys and a lot of professionals as well, the collar and elbow tie-up. When the hell did you forget how to do that?
Yeah.
It's one of the first moves you freaking learn.
Yeah.
It controls the flow of the match. How do you not know how to lock up with somebody?
Yeah. You know what it is? Is either A, they weren't taught, B, they got lazy, and the third one is someone doesn't tell them, your shit doesn't look good, let's do it. And you know how I know that? Because we just did a class last week with the new guys and the experienced guys who've been around, and we just ran them through the first time to see how they went. And a lot of it is, we're just doing, collar and elbow. Now, why don't you actually make it look good?
Yeah.
Because if this was your tryout, and that's the only thing that I saw, and it looked like the way you did it, you wouldn't have got hired. So you have to re-emphasize these small things because they take it for granted.
Yeah, basic things. Like a guy I wrestled a few months ago, we were working a match out. It was an 8-minute match, and he's like, "Bubba, we're gonna do this." I was like, "Slow your roll. We're not doing half of that." hey, slow your roll. This is an 8-minute match.
Yeah.
To make things that make sense. He wanted to do reversal this, reversal that. I'm like, no, we're not doing any of that. So this is how it's going to go, And so I know there's a lot of young guns out there. They want to fly over the ring, but just slow down. And it's better to have 2 or 3 moves that make sense so the crowd can absorb it versus 1,000 moves where each of those moves you shouldn't be getting up right away. But you're getting up, you do this one, and it makes no sense.
Danny, I agree with you 100%. And you and Chris and myself, we can all sit there. What is the one constant with every mega star in professional wrestling? The 5 moves of doom. Major mega star, whether it was Hogan or Bruno or Undertaker or Stone Cold, they all had 5 signature moves that were theirs, and they made sure that they got them in every single match. But they could still wrestle, And a lot of these younger guys, they like, we got to get in 1,000 moves in a match. I'm like, man, where's the story? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to burn the fans out in match 1, so by match 3 they're ready to pack up and go the hell home because their kids are tired?
Yeah, they see the same move, super kick every match.
Not every match needs to be a 25-minute WrestleMania fucking instant classic.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about the language, but it really upsets. It really bothers me.
No. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of you guys who were interested in getting into wrestling, and they asked me what my number one thing for them was. I'm like, go to school and learn all the basics first. You'll have plenty of time to whittle your stuff down or do whatever you want to do high flying wise. As soon as you learn the basics, the basics. I'm not saying you have to go into all these crazy spots, but just learn headlocks.
Yeah.
Go over an arm drag would be nice to see once in a while. You don't have to start off a match with Conan Kanranas and fake forearms like everybody seems to be doing these days. Yeah.
Killer Kowalski, your trainer there, remember talking to me, told me one match he did 3 moves, that's it. And he ran at the guy slow motion, the crowd went nuts, so he kept going with it, you know what I mean? And he goes, it's not what you do, it's how you do it, you know what I mean? And he said, I ran at him at slow motion, the crowd went nuts. You know what I mean? And I forgot who he wrestled, but things like that. It says you work the crowd. That's what we're there for. Not to put on a circus show for ourselves, but work the crowd, what they want to see and everything else.
A shining example of how to evolve yourself properly is Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Is probably the best example.
Yep.
When he first came back to WWE back in 2022 or whatever it was, that series with Rollins was great. He was doing like 100 different moves, whatever. But then he got into the matches with Brock, which actually the fans were interested because the story made sense. Mm-hmm. And now he's got the rivalry going on with Cena. And if you notice, the amount of moves that Cody uses in a match has gone down quite a bit in the last year and a half than it was previously. Yeah. Because he's evolving his character to that megastar status where he needs to be in order to survive. And we've seen what all the crazy stuff does, because guys and girls that get hurt all the time because they're taking ridiculous chances when they probably shouldn't.
Do you want to hear a good story about like Cody Rhodes and Roman? These are obviously main event guys. They got a top slot. They're drawing all the money. Those are the guys that go and ask people to watch their matches. Those are the guys, if they're not in the main event, they're watching the main event. Do you know who's not watching the main event? The new guys.
I heard a couple of things recently that kind of... I heard that the young guys who go on early in the show are taking off before the show's even over.
Yeah.
And to me, that is so disrespectful to the business. Regardless of whether or not you first or last, every time I ever worked for a company, I stayed to the very, very end of the show.
Well, you never know if you're going to be used because you think your match is over. Like, for example, New World Wrestling Show, I wrestled Jimmy Jack Cash, right? I was about to get
Yeah.
dressed, and Eric Shred couldn't make it for the main event against Mr. 305. And they're looking around, and Jimmy looks at me. He's like, "Hey, you want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, hell with it." And at least my boots back up, and I stuck around, and I had an opportunity to wrestle in the main event. You know what I mean? So you never know. You think you're done, and something could happen. Yeah.
And always stay in gear until I tell you can change out.
Yep.
Or, when you know safely that the main event is already on and they don't need you for nothing, then it takes 20 minutes to get changed anyway. No big deal. Or whatever. That's if you take your time. But, I see these guys that come in and do their matches, and then they're like, "Well, gotta go," and then I'm like, "Why are you leaving? Learn something."
Yeah.
You might watch somebody who has better stage presence than you, or doesn't move better than you, and you can always ask them about it. Or you watch something, you see something somebody has that they're doing right, and you could help somebody better their craft, so it makes the show better overall. But it seems like that camaraderie part has been lost a lot in the process. So
And it opens up opportunities if you, especially a new wrestler, right? To say again, a main event, whatever, something happens, is one of the guys don't show up or whatever, and boom, you got that spot, and that's your opportunity to shine. And they like you in the main event status, that could boost you up into the card. You know what I mean? Anything can happen, or even a title. I mean, you go there, wrestle person, you think you're done. Next thing you're wrestling for a tag team title or a heavyweight title, and you're winning it. You know what I mean? Anything's possible in professional wrestling. So I would say stay around, man, and the opportunity. And then when opportunity comes, you need to take it.
Well, you know what? The last thing, I'm sure Chris, I'm sure you've dealt with it before. It's people who are trying to get their payday before the show is over.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, no, I hired you to be here for the entirety of the year. You stay here. You'll get your money at the end of the show like everybody else does. That's how Walter used to do it. That's how Tony Rumble used to do it. He wasn't going around handing guys payouts halfway through the show. He had to make sure that everything was running properly, and then at the end you'd wait for your payday, which is the way it was supposed to be done.
I like what Chris does here. What Chris does is after the show, right, a paid show, he'd be like, nobody's getting paid till that rings down into the truck. And when it rings in the truck, that's when Mrs. Blackheart starts handing out the envelopes. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful way to do that.
Well, there's a quick way to get everybody in and everybody out, and if everybody does a little, it's amazing how it breaks down.
No, you're right. You're right. And I mean, even if you had a whole ring crew that you run just to do that, which some people do that, it's still, if you're on the show, you're responsible to be there for the entirety of the show.
Yeah, put out some chairs or whatever,
What if listen, I need to schmoz this thing out. I need a bunch of guys to run out there and schmoz the match out. You can't do that. Everybody already took their ball and went home.
Yep.
Again, you got nobody in a locker room anywhere.
Yeah, that's one thing I never understood. I know, being a wrestler, I knew that's what I was doing that night. I didn't plan going on a date, going to movies. If I was wrestling, I was wrestling. That was the priority, not anything else. If anything else happened afterwards, that's great, but that was the priority. I was there to wrestle, do whatever we needed. But that's what the task was. That's what I knew I was there wanting to do.
I agree with you, and I would never double book myself.
Oh
yeah.
Unless one was a noontime show and the other one was the freaking 7 o'clock show.
Yep.
And there's enough time between them. That's one thing. But if you're taking 2 evening bookings and think you're going to do one match and try to make it all the way across God knows where to the next one, that's disrespectful. What if the first show is running late and you're the second show and you're waiting for me to get my fat ass there and I'm not there yet, and then it ruins everything you had going on at the time. So you got to make substitutions, and then I show up going, well, I'm here. Well, that's too bad. I've been where I needed you here.
It's a very small mentality on the talent, because I was telling them, why are you going to screw up 2 shows? Just screw up 1. And they're like, what?
Then the other thing too is you're putting pressure on both of the bookers because
it is
you got to
because
reroute yourself because they say you wanted you in the main event or the before that. Oh, I can't do that because I got another show.
what
So now
happened
he's
to-
gonna put you on.
someone at the other show, they had a car problems. Now you were going to be first. Now you're going to be third.
Yeah.
Or the main event. Yeah, I mean, luckily now it hasn't been that bad lately. But I remember, years ago we had that, and we're all guilty of doing it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, I got booked for 2 shows. You feel so important, but your rushing is not great, and typically the quality, you're rushing out of the first show to get to the next show.
You know, I can honestly say that I never did that for 2 different promotions. Tony would run 2 shows in one day. He'd do Somerville in the noon time, and then he'd do like a high school show at night. But I'm working for the same promoter, so I know when I'm going to be getting out of one show and getting to another show.
Yeah.
I would never book myself for like showcase, say, and then try to make it to New World in the evening, or I would never do that to a promoter because I would not want that done to me.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, guys are guilty of it all the time. I mean, like now, I'll probably say the last 5, maybe 10 years is better because there's not so many people running. But I remember when we were running shows like 09, 10, I remember the first, I remember October, I think it was October 26th or 27th of 2007. There was like 8 shows running on like that Halloween weekend. We were up in Newbury, and legitimately we had cancel after cancel. Guys trying to do double shots, triple shots that day, and we ran that show with 5 guys, Butch Petrello as the announcer, and myself. So after that, I'm like, I'm never running that weekend, because that's one reason why we don't run Halloween weekend, because every idiot wants to run a wrestling show.
That's true.
Speaking of Halloween, if you all know, Jeremy here, he's a paranormalist. So, and I know you give me the plug here for, you got a paranormal conference coming up, and it's a Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention that's coming up September 6th and 7th, and you're going to be there, as you said, right? And so Jeremy here is actually a paranormalist. So he goes around, ghost hunting, if you want to call it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think we have ghosts now at Showcase.
Yeah.
But
definitely. I'm looking forward to. I'm actually doing a panel, a paranormal panel, on the 6th, which is a Saturday afternoon in Augusta, Maine, on September 6th, that weekend. Which I'm looking forward to running that event, the horror, friends of mine, and they put a lot of hard work and effort into it, and they're bringing in some horror people, like they got one of the Jason Voorhees guys coming in. They got one of the guys who played Leatherface, and they've got I think one of the actors who did Michael Myers as well is going to be at the convention. And I think they're bringing in the Annabelle as well, the real one.
Oh, you read about his handler, Dan, I forgot his last name, that passed away recently, too.
Yeah, he was one of the Annabelle's caretakers. Dan Rivera, I think. Yeah, I think, I met him briefly once or twice at different events, but I really didn't get a chance to know the guy very much. But,
And $25 a ticket, guys, $40 for the whole weekend. And you got VIP tickets on sale, and it's pretty cool. I might go to that. I'm going to go check that out.
So we got to keep, Jeremy, I got to keep you posted. Friends of ours, we did Zombie Fest up in North Smithfield. And we're in the process of doing something probably in October with them.
Yeah.
So I'll keep you posted on that, because that's definitely up your alley with something.
What?
The question I have, right?
Sure.
How do you know if you're not alone in your house? Like, is it a feeling? How do you know that something, could be,
Could be lurking so I know it sounds crazy, but I actually can communicate with spirits without needing any tools or electronic equipment and stuff like that. It's just one of the gifts that's been bestowed upon me over the years of learning how the physical plane works and stuff like that. And I can feel, like, if I go into somebody's house and there's a spirit there, I can pretty much tell them within a short amount of time if there is energy in their house if they don't want it, or we can even, like, if you follow and like do like the Kevin drizzle once in a while. So I've seen some weird stuff, and I don't think anything is in my house. Honestly, I haven't felt anything here. I've heard some phantom noises once in a while, and I thought for sure that we had something, but I make it a rule not to communicate where I live, because I don't want anything, out visiting here at anybody that I live with, my wife and my stepdaughter or whatnot, So, I get that, I can get that feeling the minute I come in that if there's a presence in the room. But like, say if your like hairs are standing up on your arm once in a while, you get like a nervous feeling in your house, or you might think, if you feel like you're being stared at, you might be. We got to face the facts that we're far from the first generation of human beings that have walked this earth, and we will far be from the last version that walks this earth again. And I know Danny's into all that tinfoil hat kind of stuff too. So
yeah. And when I delivered pizza, when I did pizzas like 3 years ago, part time, I went to this house, right? And the second I stepped into the property, you could feel it. You know what I mean? And I asked the woman, say, "Listen, this is probably gonna be a stupid question, but is this house haunted?" She goes, "Yes, very much so." And she was explaining to me everything. I don't know whatever happened. I was supposed to go there to investigate or whatever the case. But like Jeremy said, you just could feel it. It's like it's not something you learn. It's just something you have. You know what I mean? And I did paranormal for 20-something years myself, and I can relate to Jeremy here. And you could just feel it. It's like you can't describe it, but you walk into a place, you know it's there, and they let you know too. They can sense you, and they let you know that they're there. You know what I mean? And that's happened to me many times over, and still does.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And Chris, another thing, not all the energies that you might feel are bad. It could be a loved one that attach themselves to you to let you know that they're still there, or they're watching over you, or it could be a family pet that passed away. And I mean, I've seen spirit animals running around all over the joint sometimes. Where because I work at a hospital, I see spirits there all the time.
Oh yeah.
And that can be crazy at some points, but I appreciate the ability to be able to communicate with spirits and ghosts, because not everybody gets to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to talk to my grandmother and to my mother, and I haven't really had much of a chance to talk to my father yet, because it's been a year since he passed last July, and I still have hard with that sometimes. I mean, I guess that goes without saying, and just if you feel like there's something around you, there just might be, and you could be as simple as taking your cell phone and putting it, if you're like on the camera, and go on the video, and just hit record, the phone down. It's got a series of, it's going to about 10 seconds in between, and your phone can pick up voices you might not hear with your own ear. Everybody says you need like special recorders or whatnot. I've gotten evidence with a cell phone before. So
I remember when I first started, I had like probably $1,000 worth of equipment. Then to come to find out, it's just half it's worthless. You know what I mean?
Danny, you're in tune properly. You don't need all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's cute. It makes noise and it lights up and it does some cool stuff. You know, and I have actually seen some real results from paranormal equipment. But I've also seen a lot of it that's just bells and whistles and it has no use.
Yeah.
You know?
And EMF meters, right? And I was at one investigation, right? And everybody's got their cell phones out, and like the meters going off. So you guys want to know why those meters are going off? Because of the phones. You put one there, the phone goes off the charts. You know what I mean? And you know, it's like things like that. You need to get your cell phones out of the area because it picks up EMF from the cell phone. But yeah, you're right. Most of it's just bells and whistles. And like you myself, yeah, it's a spiritual intellect that we have that is more better than those tools. You know.
You know, the hardest part about if you let like Kristen, if like you're in your house and you had like reader to try to find out there was some anomalies going on in your house, like a K2 or an EMF or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't use them inside of a house that has live wires
Yep.
and live electricity going through it because it just distorts everything. And you'll think you have 1,000 ghosts in your house by the time you're done with it, you know, and it's not true.
Yeah.
You know, but disembodied voice is definitely. I swear to God, man, a warning about 6 o'clock. I heard somebody yell shit in my house, and that's fucking impossible because I'm the only person awake, me and the cat, and I know the cat doesn't speak English, so. You know what I mean? It's a fascinating world, especially when I made the jump from professional wrestling to paranormal. It was a huge jump, but you know, I think I've always been interested in some of the weird stuff in life. So
Yeah.
you know.
It's an event in the adventure side of it too, because you go into places, historical places, you do the research for it, you come to find out a founding father lived there or whatever the case, you know what I mean? So you get into that aspect, going through tunnels and all kinds of things that people haven't been in for hundreds of years, and it's an adventure too, you know?
You know, of all places I've been to, I gotta tell you that Dale, upstate New York,
Yep.
no joke at all. No joke. That place is 100% legit. There's
Wow.
no joke there. Nope.
You want to hang on a second, Jeremy? When we get to some plugs before.
Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah. So guys, if tune in to Showcase Pro Wrestling on our YouTube channel. As right here, we got a bunch of matches just uploaded from recent shows. And also, if you go to showcaseprowrestling.com, if you're interested in becoming a pro wrestler the right way, other than some, like these modern day schools that teach you to do 1,000 flips or whatever. But Showcase Pro Wrestling, click on the training. Kenny Doan, formerly of the Spirit Squad, WWE, him and Don Vega and Chris Blackheart are the main trainers. And you got a lot of influence in there with John Cena, the Sarge, and all these other people that help train at the facility here. They got weights and everything else. But coming up on Saturday, August 9th, we're back at the Showcase Pro Wrestling Arena. It's 126 Main Street in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. The tickets are on sale, $10 a piece. And the thing is, you can't beat that, man. I mean, you get your family together, right? You got 2 kids and a wife. $40, man. You got a night out, and it's a great time, and you get to have fun. You know what I mean? And then Friday, September 12th, back at Taunton, VFW, 82 English Street, Taunton, Massachusetts. Bell time 7:47. And September 13th, we're back at the Showcase Pro Wrestling Arena, 126 Main Street, Woonsocket, Rhode Island. So go to showcaseprowrestling.com and get your tickets and everything else if you want to get tickets ahead of time. And I did have the plugs for Powerhouse Wrestling, whatever the case. I'll get to that in a second here. Hang on a second. Well, check out The Real Deal, Joel Davis. Actually, this is Chris's segment, Where in the World is Joel Davis? He's actually tonight, he's right now probably as we speak at the East Providence at the Comedy Connection. So that's a big venue right there. To be at the Comedy Connection, that's a big venue in Rhode Island, man. All the best were there and everything, so good stuff. And 1 second, we get to...
And then always go every Friday night until, looks like up to September. They're going to be a Seafood and Cones in Raham. That's every Friday night. Go and visit our good old friend Joel Davis, because you literally never know what's going to happen.
Yep. And you got a big show coming up and for Powerhouse Pro Wrestling there. And get to the card here. and that is September 20th at the Sturbridge Host Hotel. World champion Don Vega's taking on Gangrel, formerly from WWE. And you got Enzo Amore taking on Rick Swan. So you got some killer matches already lined up. And it's weird, all these stars are gunning for Don Vega, man. I know because he's got the gold at show, in Powerhouse Wrestling. But Gangrel now is like gunning for Don Vega in his title. So a lot of action.
And you can make it official, yeah. I had something to do with that one.
So yeah, could the works of the boss Chris Blackheart have something to do with that? Is that going to play at the finish? I mean,
I did not say anything. I just said I had a little hand. Let's put it this way: the plane ticket was easier acquired by myself than it would be some other people.
Huh. So again, the tickets are on sale, powerhousewrestling.com, and it's right there in the banner too, or the Facebook and social media, and also Showcase Pro Wrestling. We have tons of social media too, Facebook, Instagram, and everything else. So check us out, guys. And so that being said, you got any investigations coming up, Jeremy, that you're gonna do personally, like any big investigations you're working on?
You know what, Danny? I'm just working, and I get the convention coming up. I've actually been looking into starting to write a book about both my paranormal stuff, and been writing a book about my professional wrestling character that I've been working on for, it feels like 20 years now, and maybe someday I might actually get the thing finished. We'll see. But I've just been inspired by. I have a lot of friends who are authors, and they do different, and books, and I've been working on trying to for my, my character in like a fictional story, the Outpatient, and his whole story, and I also want to share about all my adventures with the paranormal, so that maybe someday everybody will be comfortable with sharing their personal stories, because that's what I mainly do when I do like a lecture or I do paranormal panel. Is I like to share my experiences so that other people don't have to be uncomfortable about theirs, and so quick question to both of you guys. I was thinking about it. What is your favorite Hulk Hogan match that you ever saw? Seeing that we're talking about the man himself tonight, like what's your favorite Hogan match of all time?
Favorite one?
Favorite one.
I'm gonna have to say him versus the Sheik, because that's just when it all started.
Yeah.
I know watching it back now wasn't as good as you thought it was, but the reaction from the crowd and the explosion, that's where everything started.
Yeah.
So I would say that was probably my favorite.
Me memorable, yeah, definitely, because that was my very first match I've seen. Coincidence or whatever it was, but again, 10-year-old couldn't sleep.
Is it Hulk Hogan versus Rusty Brooks?
No,
okay.
I couldn't sleep at night, and I was sick of something, so I woke up, my mother turned the TV on. It was a late Saturday night, and it was Saturday Night's Main Event. Hogan's just coming out to the ring. What the heck is this? And we're watching it. He wins the championship for Iron Sheik. So that was like, wow, that's what I want to do. And I think the second one, growing up too, was WrestleMania 7, because I'm that patriarch type of person. Him beating Sergeant Slaughter for the championship at WrestleMania 7, and that was probably my second favorite. And that third, even though he lost WrestleMania 6 against the Ultimate Warrior, because them two guys, like them two, were just the pinnacle of wrestling at the time. There was nobody even remotely like these guys. These guys were generations ahead at the WrestleMania 6 time, and to see them two go at it for title, that was like that was awesome. It really was. But yeah, I mean, personally, man, I love Hogan, man, and people call me Mark, whatever. I don't give a crap. I don't give a shit, actually. I'm Marky. I'm a Hulkamaniac. Don't like it too damn bad, and I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Hogan. And speaking of that, too, I just want to give a personal thank you, Jeremy, because you helped shape my career, too. When I got back in wrestling, I took some time off, and I got back with New World Wrestling, and Jeremy, he's like, hey, I want to manage him, and so Jeremy took interest in managing me, and he led me to the Open Weight Championship and everything, and we had some tag team titles, whatever the case, but Mr. Old School, that was his name, and he helped shape me, redefined Bionic, redefined to the Bionic Bull, redefined my arsenal, my that's where I came up with some of my finishes and everything else to redefine who I am as a professional wrestler. So big thank you, brother, and I love you, man.
Oh, my pleasure. It's passion for the business. And anybody who questions that, I severely doubt that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'll give you my quick one. My favorite 2 Hogan matches. Number 1 is probably Hogan Savage WrestleMania 5.
Yeah.
I loved, maybe because Macho Man's my favorite in ring that I ever got a chance to see. My the worst of the star for that one broke loose. Pretty much set the stage for WrestleMania 1 and everything else that went after that. Hogan and Piper just had an energy when they worked together that was unbelievable. And that one, when Piper was in his prime, I could watch Piper wrestle a plastic bag. He was just that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hogan, Piper, and Hogan versus Savage WrestleMania 5. Probably one of the best matches Hogan ever did was against Macho Man. So.
Yeah, I remember that. And I was late to the WrestleMania party, and I just got into the house, and thank God the replay. I remember Macho Man going to the top rope again. Every flash bulb was going off. Everybody's off their seat. Comes in for the finisher with the elbow, and Hogan kicks out, hulks up, and beats him for the title. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was some good stuff. And Macho Man too. What an awesome athlete that guy was as well.
They're all great. When
Yeah.
Chris mentioned Hogan and Sheik in 1984,
Bundy.
that was a tremendous match.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so hard to find that damn thing in its entirety. You got to go searching for it.
Yeah.
Because all you usually get is Hogan breaking out of the camel clutch and then dropping the leg, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Help with you guys. What's that?
So yeah, is there anything you want to close with? We're about ready to wrap up here.
Yep. You know what? I want to say thank you to you, Chris, and to you, Dan, for bringing me on Showcase Pod. I had a great time tonight, and you never know. Never say never. If I end up losing the rest of that weight, you might see me in a Showcase ring sometime. You never know.
That'd be awesome.
You are always welcome on the pod, always welcome at Showcase. Don't be a stranger, because you never know who comes through that door Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night.
And that's what I like about Showcase, man, because like these leagues, I know it's competition out there, but they're ego. Chris, man, he promotes other feds, other organizations. We had New World on with Jimmy and all that. I love you too, Jimmy, man. And it's like Chris is one of the most awesomest promoters I ever worked for. The locker room energy, I'm talking about massive energy. Everybody gets along. We're all just having fun in the locker room. The shows, it's a big family at Showcase Pro Wrestling. And it's such amazing just energy being in that locker room. The shows, everybody supports each other at the training, the whole 9 yards. And we got a great crew there. And, like he said, the doors are open for you, brother. And I would love to see you come down to check out one of my shows sometime.
I definitely will plan on it, man. Saturdays are hard for me, but I'll definitely keep an eye out. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds great,
Thank
Jeremy.
you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother.
Have a great night.
You too.
Take care.
So yeah, guys.
Any questions in the chat?
No. I actually put it out for any questions, but.
That is more than fine. On behalf of Dan Badani, myself, and the missing Don Vega, thank you for tuning in to Showcase Pod. Always follow us on all social media at SP Wrestling. Big shows coming up. We have some announcements coming up for Showcase Pro Wrestling, some other events that we will be plugging down the line. But as always, we thank you, and we will see you next week on the pod.